And welcome back to American Agenda. I'm Heather Childers. The relationship between Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi boiling over. Pelosi now adding Republican Adam Kinzinger, an anti-Trumper, to the January 6th Select Committee after refusing McCarthy's picks, both Congressman Jim Banks and Jim Jordan. McCarthy is said to be livid and is now facing pressure from the right to take a shot at Speaker Pelosi with a motion to, quote, vacate the Speaker's chair. That would, in essence, get Pelosi to step down. Let's bring in our panel for their thoughts on this and more. But let's begin with your reaction, Ford, to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi discussing what's brought all of this about, her January 6th committee appointees.
Well, this is an enormous political gift for Minority Leader McCarthy. I hope he doesn't squander it, because this whole committee was a sham from the beginning, and now it's an even bigger political farce as we go on. I've never seen in the history of the Congress the majority party dictating to the minority party who can and cannot sit on a political committee. Here's what's happening. Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats are looking at the polls. They recognize that they're going to get clobbered in the 2022 midterms, and they're trying to score cheap political points by changing the narrative and rehashing the January 6th riot.
Yeah. But the thing is, will it work against them? Here is what Nancy Pelosi seems to think.
He and other Republicans have expressed an interest to serve on the Select Committee, and I wanted to appoint three of the members that Leader McCarthy suggested, but he withdrew their names. The two that I would not appoint are people who would jeopardize the integrity of the investigation, and there's no way I would tolerate their antics as we seek the truth.
But yet, Melanie, we all already know how both Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger feel about the former president. Listen to what Kinzinger had to say about what happened at the Capitol, and then I'll get your response.
I think the vast majority, if not all of them, my colleagues believe that this was a Trump-incited insurrection. What's even more sad, Anderson, is not that, so many people that aren't acknowledging the truth. It's that there are millions of people, base voters, Republican voters, many in my district, that believe the big lie. And it's not really their fault, although everybody's responsible for what you believe and doing research. But all the leaders they trust are sitting here telling them it's a big lie, and everything that they see on CNN or everything they read in the paper is a lie, and it's just a cover-up.
So with that, Nancy Pelosi now says that it's still a bipartisan select committee. Do you believe that?
By adding Republicans in name only. I mean, she's a typical type of politician that believes her own hype. Like, I think she actually believes everything that she's saying. And Kinzinger is the type of politician that thinks that the voters are stupid, that thinks that we don't know what went on January 6th, and thinks that we don't do our research, and that we weren't there watching President Trump's speech, saw everything that he said, and saw what went on with the so-called insurrection on January 6th. It's insulting.
Yeah. So, Steve, GOP leader Kevin McCarthy was asked today about both Cheney and Kinzinger, whether or not he would remove them from their committees, because a lot of folks now calling for that to happen. He just said basically on that, I couldn't tell you, but he did refer to both of them as Pelosi Republicans.
He's got to do that. I mean, this is the problem with the Republican Party. The Republican Party will talk tough. They'll tell you they're upset. They'll tell you that they're horrified, but they don't follow through. And I understand about turning the other cheek. I get it. But right now, we've got a country to save. And, McCarthy's got to step up. He's got to remove them. And he's got to move forward with, filing to have Nancy Pelosi vacate the speakership. She's probably never going to do that. But again, you have to fight back. If not, the Republicans are going to continue to get railroaded. Now, in 2022, yeah, there's a possibility the Republicans take back the House and Senate, but only if there's fair elections.
Yeah, and that's something that President Trump pointed out, Ford, on Saturday night when he was talking there in Arizona, that first of all, you have to make sure that every legal vote counts when you go to the ballot box in 2022, 2024, and beyond.
Well, look, President Trump's absolutely right. Voter integrity is an issue that needs to keep on improving itself so that we can, make sure that most people vote, but also cut down on the cheating as possible. But I think that what Steve has pointed out is absolutely right here with respect to Leader McCarthy and the Republicans. For Adam Kinzinger to walk out there and with a straight face call what happened at the Capitol an insurrection is beyond ridiculous. Does anyone on this panel honestly believe that a ragtag bunch of people with fire extinguishers, a flag spear, a guy with horns, and face paint is actually going to overthrow the National Guard and federal law enforcement? This is beyond a sham. And here's what's even worse, is that Democrats don't want to get at the one truthful question, and that was when Capitol Police Chief Steve Sund, who was fired by Pelosi, was begging for reinforcements 2 days before the rally, and yet Pelosi never gave it to him. This is not about getting the truth. This is about petting the tail on the Republicans and trying to turn voters away from voting Republican in 2022.
And do you think that it will end up turning against Democrats in 2022, Ford?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to turn against Democrats. But what Republicans have to remind the rank and file voters is that there is nothing bipartisan about this. This is nothing but a sham to turn Pelosi's political narrative into news.
Mm-hmm. All right. Final word, Melanie.
No, this is no different than the second impeachment. The way she's operating is no different than the way she did the second impeachment. And like Ford said, it's an absolute, complete sham.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you very much, panel.